Despite its pretentious facade of sincerity, there is a surplus of deliberate distortion of fact within intelligent design. At present, Lee Strobel is probably the most famous author and hero of the intelligent design faction. His books have sold millions of copies. He is a wildly popular speaker at Republican church gatherings, and he himself is a fundamentalist pastor. The following words are highlighted on the corner of the cover of Strobel's mega-selling book, The Case for a Creator. Quote, cosmologists agree that the universe arose suddenly out of absolute nothingness. But how? And how did it unfold with such painstaking precision? End quote. This jacket blurb is the worst conceivable misrepresentation of fact. Strobel's promotional teaser does indeed accurately describe the content of his book, but that is unfortunately the problem. Chapter after chapter, Strobel ridicules the folly of a supposedly secular, something from nothing origin of the universe, an argument that is an artificially propped up straw man erected by Strobel solely to be knocked down. Cosmologists emphatically do not assert that the universe arose suddenly out of absolute nothingness. Strobel's mischaracterization is not only a total distortion of current cosmological thought, but it is typical of the intelligent design movement's use of the logical error known as suppressed quantification. In the error of suppressed quantification, the number of experts endorsing your position is deliberately withheld to create the illusion of popular support. Strobel says, quote, cosmologists agree, meaning like two or more cosmologists. Perhaps in the entire world, there may be two isolated cosmologists who agree that, quote, the universe arose suddenly out of absolute nothingness. But this is not an opinion held by any respected authority of whom I am aware. Stephen Hawking, the world's preeminent cosmologist, said that the universe had neither a starting point nor a supernatural beginning. Hawking clearly states in A Brief History of Time, quote, so long as the universe had a beginning, we could suppose it had a creator. But if the universe is really completely self-contained, having no boundary or edge, it would have neither beginning nor end. It would simply be. What place then for a creator? This is likewise the view of every respected cosmologist on Earth. But the proponents of intelligent design cannot live with the state of affairs, since it flatly contradicts their dire need for a something from nothing beginning to the universe. Like most of the general public, intelligent design thoroughly misinterprets Big Bang cosmology as proposing a magical something from nothing appearance of mass energy immediately prior to universal expansion. Again, this is a bogus interpretation and misuse of science. Strobel's books and radio commercials also distort the word of Carl Sagan, Steven Weinberg, Richard Dawkins, J.B.S. Haldane, Francis Crick, Stephen Jay Gould, and Linus Pauling, all resolute atheists, giving the vulgar misimpression that their words lend credibility to the theory of intelligent design. The Kalam argument, lipstick on a pig. The overriding goal for most of intelligent design's spokesmen and writers is to be perceived as towering intellectuals by their fellow Republican churchmen. They know all too well that the professional scientific establishment dismisses their blind faith dogma as pseudoscientific mysticism. So in an overly compensatory effort, advocates of intelligent design hold on, bro. What's going on, Tux TV? Jimmy Galaxy. Desmond. The beginning of the universe is found in the second law of thermodynamics. No, it's not. But whatever, dude. I'd like to know exactly how much you've read on the topic of Thermodynamics. Almost fucked that up how I said that. Anyway, the overriding goal for most of intelligent design's spokesmen and writers is to be perceived as towering intellectuals by their fellow Republican churchmen. They know all too well that the professional scientific establishment dismisses their blind faith dogma as pseudoscientific mysticism. So, in an overly compensatory effort, advocates of intelligent design deliberately fill their sermons and books with complicated jargon and wordy gobbledygook in an attempt to look like intellectual supermen. For example, the age-old first cause argument is no longer called the first cause argument. Now, intelligent design has repackaged this chestnut as the long-winded speech-length Kalam argument. Quite approximately, the word Kalam is of Arabic origin, meaning speech. The only difference between the Kalam argument and the first cause argument is that the Kalam argument begs the question twice instead of only once. The original first cause argument was flawed in that it demanded a cause for everything, but then abruptly changed its rules midstream, flip-flopping that the rule didn't actually apply to God, who always existed. As we discussed in length in Chapter 2, we can offer instead a much simpler supposition that the mass energy comprising our universe always existed. Such an assumption harmonizes beautifully with our physical laws of the conservation of mass energy, which forbid creation ex nihilo, an essential tenet of intellectual design philosophy. We therefore have three possibilities. Number one, mass energy never existed and doesn't exist today. This possibility is inherently ridiculous because the universe obviously does exist. No one actually holds this view. Number two, mass energy did not exist at some point in the distant past, but it does exist today. This assumption would mean that the laws of physics were violated at least once through an ex nihilo creation event. 3. The mass energy comprising our universe always existed. This assumption is far simpler than presupposing a highly complex series of divine creation miracles and a supernatural being. The principle of Occam's razor, that the simplest explanation is usually the most accurate, prefers this supposition. Moreover, this supposition would not violate the mass energy conservation laws, since we are ruling out an ex nihilo creation event. Mass energy always existed. This proposition does not argue, however, that the universe as we observe it today always existed. We know our current universe had a beginning, but the eventual building blocks of our universe did always exist. The main objection to this hypothesis is psychological rather than scientific, as we discussed in previous chapters. In point of fact, there is actually a fourth possibility owing to vacuum fluctuation physics. Cosmologists have described the sudden appearance of matter out of what appears to be completely empty space. Matter may spontaneously appear in one of two ways. One, from a pre-existing energy field, or two, from quite literally nothing. The reason why this latter appearance of matter, i.e. the zero state theory, does not violate the mass energy conservation law is that the matter produced in this way is composed equally of positive and negative energy. Positive energy in the instance of material objects, and negative energy in the generation of accompanying gravitational fields. When combined mathematically, both forms of energy precisely cancel out each other, resulting in a zero state. It is quite possible that the universe as a whole may have a sum total of zero energy. Vacuum fluctuation physics is an esoteric field of study, but the important point to remember here is that once again, the universe may be understood and explained through natural science rather than supernatural mysticism. It's also curious to note that although string theory is years, if not decades, from completion, intelligent design apologists already claim to know the answers about the formation of the entire cosmos. It is therefore puzzling why they never submit their research data and evidence to any legitimate peer-reviewed scientific journal. Is it possible that intelligent design has no true scientific research data or evidence to submit to the peer-reviewed journals? Peer-reviewed. Could this absence of evidence explain why the percentage of scientists endorsing intelligent design theory is trifling? A study published in Nature, July 23rd, 1998, revealed that of the membership of the prestigious National Academy of Sciences, only 7% of its leading scientists believed in a personal God, much less any evidence of the intelligent design crusade. Intelligent design's greatest triumph, therefore, has been in convincing the general public that there is a controversy raging among scientists over intelligent design. There is no scientific controversy whatsoever. Intelligent design proponents knew that their original first cause argument was flawed, so they contrived a patch in an attempt to salvage the necessity of Jehovah's existence. They changed their starting premise from everything needs a cause to everything that begins to exist needs a cause. Since God didn't begin to exist, and since the universe did begin to exist, according to intelligent design's total lie about what cosmologists agree, intelligent design leaders claim that they have delivered scientific proof of God's existence. There are three transparent blunders with this so-called Kalam argument. First, the argument that God exists and has always existed is a biblical doctrine. So intelligent design is proving God's eternal existence by constructing an argument that assumes God's eternal existence based on Scripture. And intelligent design knows that the Bible is true because it's the Bible. The second problem with the Kalam argument, as we discussed above, is the utterly dishonest claim that cosmologists agree that the universe arose suddenly out of absolute nothingness. We can easily see here how one flawed premise quickly requires other flawed and dishonest arguments as supporting props. The third fallacy involves the identity of the God whose existence is allegedly proven by the Kalam argument. Why couldn't the intelligent designer be Zeus, or Allah, or Apollo? There's nothing in the Kalam argument that even addresses this question. Yet, without rational explanation, intelligent design worshippers know in their hearts that the intelligent creator is Jesus' father. As we've seen, a mandatory doctrine of intelligent design is that mass energy could not always have existed. Supposedly, it magically popped into existence out of nothing and therefore requires a supernatural explanation. Ironically, few scientists would even contest the claim that a magically appearing universe required the assistance of a god in one form or another. The real issue, obscured by intelligent design subterfuge, is whether mass energy always existed. It is again imperative we understand that, contrary to popular misperception, Big Bang cosmology does not claim that mass energy appeared ex nihilo, at or prior to the Big Bang. Such a something from nothing appearance of energy or matter would violate the law of the conservation of mass energy. Instead, Big Bang cosmologists assert only that approximately 14 billion years ago, the mass energy that now comprises the universe began its current period of expansion due to an immense explosion. So, in a blatant self-contradiction, intelligent design's scientific proof of God's existence requires a belief that our scientific laws were violated. While ridiculing secular thinkers for allegedly proposing a something from nothing appearance of the universe, it is actually the theologically enslaved intelligent design proponents who hold this mystical something from nothing belief. Any belief in divine creation ex nihilo is an abandonment of the scientific principle of the conservation of mass energy. What proof does intelligent design offer that mass energy didn't always exist? Since intelligent design does not have and could not possibly have scientific proof that mass energy didn't always exist, intelligent design instead retreats to philosophical musings and word games. Philosopher William Lane Craig is revered in fundamentalist pews for his defense of the Kalam argument. When asked by Lee Strobel in The Case for a Creator how we know that the building blocks of the universe aren't infinitely old, Craig used marbles to explain. Quote, "Imagine I had an infinite number of marbles in my possession and that I wanted to give you some. In fact, suppose that I wanted to give you an infinite number of marbles. One way I could do that would be to give you the entire pile of marbles.
In that case, I would have 0 marbles left for myself. However, another way to do it would be to give you all the odd numbered marbles. And then I'd still have an infinitely left over for myself, and you would have an infinity too. You'd have just as many as I would. And in fact, each of us would have just as many as I originally had before we divided into odd and even. Or another approach would be for me to give you all of the marbles numbered 4 and higher. That way, you'd have an infinity of marbles, but I'd have only 3 marbles left. What these illustrations demonstrate is that the notion of an actual infinite number of things leads to contradictory results. Craig concludes, so the universe can't have an infinite number of events in its past, it must have had a beginning. Craig is correct that if you mix finite and infinite numbers in a mathematical equation, you will indeed get contradictory and nonsensical results. But this fact is entirely definitional, i.e., it mathematically relates only to itself rather than to the empirical universe. It's like saying 2 plus 2 equals 4, therefore the cosmos sprang into being from nothing, proving a creator's involvement. Craig's conclusion is a non sequitur. He is offering valid observations only about his self-created, self-contained universe of abstract numbers, rather than about the true outside universe in which we actually live. As an admirably devoted Christian, Craig no doubt believes in the power of biblical parables, but he has completely failed to demonstrate, or even attempted to demonstrate, the real-world applicability of his arithmetic parable through the scientific method. Unsurprisingly, therefore, Craig's arithmetic parable is wholly irrelevant to the law of the conservation of mass energy. Consequently, it's unimportant whether Craig has lost 3, half, or all of his fucking marbles. The mass energy conservation law nonetheless forbids creation ex nihilo. Craig similarly argues that the universe can't be infinitely old because an infinite length of time would have to precede the Big Bang. An infinite length of time which, by definition, could never have ended to permit the Big Bang to occur. In other words, in an infinitely old universe, we could never actually arrive at any specific moment in time. Craig repeatedly misuses his mathematical infinities to prove a conclusion that is mathematically cohesive but empirically ridiculous. Let me demonstrate why. Suppose that you wish to walk a distance of 1 city block. Needless to say, before you can reach your final destination 1 block away, you must first traverse half of that distance, or half a block. Likewise, before you can reach your midway point, half a block away, you must first arrive at a point which is half of that distance, or a quarter of a way from your starting position. Before you can walk a quarter of a block, you must walk an eighth of a block, etc. All of these facts are incontrovertibly true and can certainly be extended to infinity. For example, before you can walk 1/5000th of a block, you must first walk 1/10,000th of a block ad infinitum. Applying Craig's theory about infinities to the real world, you could never arrive at your final destination 1 block away. Why not? Because you would first need to arrive at an infinite number of intermediate midway points, an infinity of waypoints that, by definition, is without end and therefore impassable. How could you possibly travel beyond an infinite number of anything? Back to reality. It goes without saying that despite the mathematical impossibility of your reaching an infinite number of waypoints, you can easily walk the length of a city block within 2 or 3 minutes at most. This example illustrates the clear distinction between intelligent design's philosophical proofs of God's existence and the true world of experimental physics. All cosmologists, whether secular or theological, are forced to contemplate an infinite regress, either in the form of mass energy or in the form of a God. So the question again reverts to whether A, this infinite regress harmonizes with the mass energy conservation laws, as I've been suggesting, or B, whether a God violated the mass energy conservation laws through an ex nihilo creation event. Craig is back where he started, having made no progress forward whatever in his God did it argument. One may certainly believe by religious faith that God created the universe ex nihilo, but intelligent design claims to possess scientific proof of creation. Proof in the form of self-contained definitions, flawed premises, non sequiturs, and absolute misrepresentations of fact, misrepresentations which, even if true, would require that our laws of physics have been violated and that the book of Genesis be dismissed as mere metaphor. Furthermore, Craig's argument clearly begs the question yet again, for if his marble example actually proved that nothing could be infinitely old, then God could not be infinitely old either. Craig argues, however, that God, the eternal, is timeless in his being. So, in other words, the rules don't apply to God because the rules don't apply to God, a barefaced illustration of the special pleading fallacy. It is both meaningless and slippery to feign that God is beyond time. What does this cliche actually mean in a scientific context? I don't know. Before his creation of our universe, did God have no mental deliberations, no acts of love to bestow upon his heavenly host, no heavenly chores to discharge, no actions or thoughts of any kind? If God did engage in such thoughts or actions prior to his creation of our universe, then theoretically, these thoughts and actions could be enumerated or itemized, at least partially. Even though Craig would self-servingly define these pre-creation activities as before time or beyond time, couldn't these prior events be added to a tallied list of God's other praiseworthy attributes and actions? Wouldn't this list of God's pre-creation activities, however incomplete it may be, show that an infinite regress of specific events is not only possible, but indispensable if God is assumed to be infinitely old, as Craig believes? In plain English, Craig claims that something can be infinitely old when it suits his purpose, but something can't be infinitely old when it doesn't suit his purpose. So, whether you define God's pre-creation activities as inside time or outside time is purely a matter of preferential semantics rather than substance. What Craig really means is, I don't want you to criticize any of my circular question-begging special pleading arguments. I recognize that my no infinite regress marble game is particularly inconsistent and unconvincing. I'm therefore going to define it as off limits to criticism by labeling God's pre-creation activities, whatever they may have been, as beyond time. Craig's marble game is thus a cleverly veiled attempt to gag anyone who demands that his arguments for a creator avoid the special pleading fallacy. The intelligent design movement strives to prove the existence of a creator by citing the complexity of the universe and the life therein. Yet, intelligent design's explanation posits the preexistence of even greater complexity, an almighty miracle worker. Intelligent design explains complexity by presuming complexity, thereby merging its failed design argument with its failed first cause argument. As we discussed in Chapter 2, creationists fail to grasp what science even means by the term explanation. A true scientific explanation must incorporate specific mechanistic descriptions of how an event occurred. If intelligent design's preachers cannot explain how a creator transformed nothing into something, then intelligent design reverts to being a religion rather than a scientific explanation. Merely stating that creation was a divine miracle does not fulfill the requisites of a scientific explanation. Once again, intelligent design proponents are free to believe whatever they please about the origin of the cosmos, but their claim of having scientific proof of their religion is utterly empty. Moreover, the very premise of the Kalam argument, i.e., that everything that begins to exist needs a cause, has been flatly contradicted by the findings of modern quantum mechanics. The central reason why quantum mechanics is categorized as non-classical physics is its concept of non-causality at the atomic level, where physical states of existence and non-existence are ultimately determined. The Kalam argument, therefore, fails on both the macro and micro levels. William Lane Craig, like all creationists, is hypocritical when discussing the subject of causation. He demands absolute adherence to a strict determinist viewpoint until the topic of human free will is introduced, Flip-flopping yet again, Craig is then forced by his religion and the Bible to claim that humans possess free will, independent of external causes or exculpatory antecedents. Need I remark that Craig and his sympathizers use laws of causation on a blatantly ad hoc basis? William Lane Craig truly revealed intelligent design's guiding principle when he said, quote, "Should a conflict arise between the witness of the Holy Spirit to the fundamental truth of the Christian faith and beliefs based on argument and evidence, then it is the former which must take precedence over the latter, not vice versa." So basically, when scripture comes into conflict with science, then you just got to believe scripture. Fuck science. That's basically what William Lane Craig said. So he's not reliable, not for facts or anything, but he's reliable to lie to you. Spiritual rags to riches is where we'll leave it at. So. I already read it twice. We're working on a third one. The Bible is owned by King Charles. What's up, dude? Dad just got back from a good one. What up, Brad? Book sounds fun to read. It is. So, get one. Get you a copy. Atheist Universe, the thinking person's answer. The thinking person. So, that already excludes Christians. The thinking person's answer to Christian fundamentalism. What's going on, Zorps? What's up, Fixing Benjamin? You stupid. I like that, though. Thanks, Zorps. I'm glad you like them. My G, Curtis Weatherly in this bitch. We're talking about faith. Well, I was reading a book, to be fair. So, what's going on? Hayden in this bitch. Y'all about to make me smoke a blunt, man. Look, I got this one from the line. Hold on. That's how you know it's from the line. It's the R and Raw mug. You probably can't read that, but it say, but how do you know that? Yeah, man. What would I say to what? I fear you, Curtis, bro. I'll hit it in your behalf. You know what I'm saying? This for Curtis. This was for Curtis, too. And this one. I'm just playing. How's your day going? It's going all right, Benjamin. Fixing Benjamin. Trump or Biden, fool? How about neither, son? I'm a communist, cuz. Thought y'all knew that by now. I don't like none of these motherfuckers. None of them. He's like, hold it. I tried to, bro. You trying to kill me and shit. What's going on, Mary Jane? Moderator. Hail Satan, son. And no, I don't believe in Satan, for you motherfuckers about to ask. Jesus fucking Christ. Hold it, KB in the bitch. What's going on? I'm glad you found me. What's up, Jimmy? How old am I? I give you a hint. The number one movie at the box office in the year I was born was Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm old. I'm not a Christian. Not at all, sir. I mean, I read the Bible and shit, but Jesus is not my Lord and Savior. Shit, I'm 33. He was as old as Jesus was when he died. I'm your age, KB. That's what's up. Not today, Jeebus. Zest in peace, Chester Bennington. I just wanted to say that. Oh, you said rest. Oh, you said zest. I was about to say, damn. Maybe I'm Jesus. You might be, dog. You might have come back. Yeah, I mean, you hear the. Nah, you can't be Jesus. Ain't no rapture and shit. I ain't see nobody flying up or nuts and that's it. Maybe I'm Jesus. What would you say to this argument? I still didn't pay attention. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing all right. Thong balls. Is that what it is? Thong balls. That's hilarious. He's real. Who real? I don't believe he's real. Are you saying that to me, Dade? Or Dade? What's up, poopy puppies? That's a funny name too, actually. I was talking to someone else when I said that, but yours is funny too. Wait, hold on. The observation of the redshift galaxy supports the idea of the universe having a beginning. The second law of thermodynamics states that in a closed system, entropy disorder tends to increase over time. I mean, yeah, what about it? I mean, that's true. You know what I'm saying? You know? So wouldn't that suggest beginning of time? Yes. Well, I mean, time, space and time came into existence at the same time. Like they came into existence when the Big Bang happened. And that was the beginning of our time, you know, in our local presentation of the universe, at least. So, yeah, space time was initiated at the point of the Big Bang. So, who's Jesus' real father? Bruh, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Because they got two different lineages, you know what I'm saying? Depending on whose lineage you follow. Some say David, and some say someone else. I can't remember who the other dude was, but yeah, so it just depends. Like, because both in the New Testament Gospels, and they're from the Synoptic Gospels, so I'm not even talking about like John, you know what I'm saying? But, and like, I think it's Mark and Luke where they talk about it. But no, I take that back. It might be at the beginning of Matthew. I know Matthew 1, I'm pretty sure, gives one lineage, but I can't remember whose lineage that one is. Anywho, thanks. Cheek meat. I mean, Jimmy, I'm in Ohio just by like happenstance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to fucking be here. You know what I mean? Like, if I could, I'd go to like Lithuania or some fucking shit. Get me the fuck out of the United States. As long as you have faith, you'll be stronger. Faith is trash, bro. We don't need that. Would you accept my challenge? Read the Bible for an hour or more every night. And if God doesn't respond within a few days, I'm proven wrong. I mean, you should already be proven wrong. I've read the Bible a couple of times. I continue to read the Bible. I researched the Bible. I got this is the Malleus Maleficarum. It gave like instructions on how to like deal with witches and whatnot, as laid out by this fucking guy. Heaven and Hell: A History of the Afterlife by Bart Ehrman. One of the world, or at least, yeah, one of the world's leading biblical historians, Bart Ehrman. Again, God's Problem by Bart Ehrman. And that one's on how the Bible fails to answer the question of why we suffer. This whole book is just about the problem of suffering, you know what I'm saying, as far as God is concerned. Misquoting Jesus, also by Bart Ehrman, you know what I'm saying, the story behind who changed the Bible and why. And this goes into more about the canonization of the Bible, you know what I'm saying. And I don't even fuck with the Bible, you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't believe none of that shit, but I'm studying its history, how it came together, who wrote it, all that shit. And then I got books about from like this, for example, and this just on all the different killings in the Bible that God did and shit. Why y'all trying to make it seem like Satan the evil one? It's like this one's just drunk with blood. God's killings in the Bible by Steve Wells. It's not a very, you know what I'm saying, but it's very good. So let me go to the end. I read this last in 2023, and he go by each killing from the Old Testament all the way to the very last one. You know what I'm saying? And then he has a tally, you know what I'm saying, of how many millions of people God was responsible for killing compared to like any sort of killings you could attribute to the devil. So that was that. And I got this one, God and the Folly of Faith. Why basically faith is bullshit. And then I got this book on misquoting Jesus. I mean, not misquoting Jesus, mything into action. You know what I'm saying? How much have you read? How much research have you done? You know what I'm saying? Into your fucking religion. The religion I don't even believe in, that I despise wholeheartedly. But here I am doing research on your shit. I got Bibles and shit. I've got a Book of Mormon over here and shit. I'm more invested in your faith than you are. Talking about read the Bible and come back to me. Get the fuck out of here. How about you read it? Okay, I read it enough. I read it, I study it, and I got more books coming. I got 3 more on the way. One of them just about free will. Just about that. You know what I'm saying? And 2 others, I can't remember what they were. But y'all know, because I'll be reading them on here and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, and this ain't even all of them. This ain't even all of them. Hold on. Another one. Another one. Two big dumbass books. Thick as fuck. The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins. Read that. The Blind Watchmaker by Richard Dawkins. Read that. And I got that's the other one I got coming. That's at least one of the 3. The God Delusion. That's one of the 3 I got coming. Like, bro, Don't play with me, bro. Don't play with me with your religion that I know more about than you do. You know. That's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books. 11 books. Not including the Bible. So 12. And still no evidence for your God. None. Zilch. Goose egg. Nothing. Look at that fucking stack, bro. A stack of books. "50 reasons people give for believing in a God." Okay, that's all of them. I have to look again. Yeah, it's all of them. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Not including the Bible. Look, this motherfucking stack is as high as me. So get your study up, not your funny up. Hey man, what's your show about? My show? What the fuck? This what it's about. I'm out.